President Biden versus President Trump. Good to know where the tax dollars of the American people is going, isn't it? I know that if you look up something in a dictionary, most dictionaries don't have pictures. However, I think they would make the exception in this case that when you look up the word tacky in a dictionary, this picture of Donald Trump would come up. This video brought to you by my YouTube members and patrons. Thank you guys. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we are going to be returning to r/BoomersBeingFools. It's a subreddit dedicated exactly to that. It's a subreddit about boomers and their foolery. Very quickly before we begin, I just wanted to mention that YouTube members and patrons, you guys get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. That equates to about 25p per video. If you want to give me more than that, feel free to. If you don't want to give me anything, that's okay too. But the option is there for people that want the extra content. But without further ado, let's get into the subreddit, shall we? Trump supporters demand to know if Navajo congressman is here illegally. Let that sink in for a minute. Man, at this point, it honestly, if Native Americans wanted to start deporting people with European descent because they're the people here illegally, I'd probably be like, yeah, that makes sense. At this point, yeah, with people like Donald Trump running the country into the ground and, you know, having detained Native Americans due to the color of their skin, ICE has done that. Yeah, I would support them. Cracker Barrel CEO scraps new logo. At this time, our focus should be on Trump releasing the Epstein files, not logos. You know what? I respect that that's the reason they gave. I'm sure that the real reason was just because of the backlash, because so many people were that bothered by a restaurant changing its logo, which is stupid. But, you know, using this is like, well, yeah, fine. You know what? If it stops you guys talking about it, let's talk about Epstein instead. We'll change our logo back. I respect that. I respect that that's the move they took. If baking a cake for a gay couple is endorsing homosexuality, then voting for a pedophile and rapist is endorsing pedophilia and rape. You can't assert the former without the latter also being true. Now, this is one of those cases where I would actually say this is a false equivalency. I don't think that these are really the same thing. First of all, I'm on the side of you can bake a cake for a gay couple without endorsing the fact that they're gay. However, you cannot vote for someone to be the president of a country without endorsing who they are. If you are voting for someone to run your country with the intention of having them run your country, you are voting for someone because you want them to run your country, you are endorsing them as a person. If that person is a pedophile and rapist, you are endorsing them as a person. There's no way around that. These aren't the same thing, because you can bake a cake for anyone without endorsing them, but voting for someone to run your country is absolutely endorsing that person 100%. And also, you know, even if you voted for them and then later found out information about who they were as a person, if you continue to support them as your president, you are continuing to endorse them despite knowing that information. My boss arrived at work in a brand new Maserati. I said, wow, that's an amazing car. He replied, if you work hard, put all your hours in and strive for excellence, I'll get another one next year. Boomers will make jokes like this and be like, huh, that's just the way the world is. And as soon as a millennial or a Gen Z is like, maybe it shouldn't be though. They're like, what are you, a fucking communist? You a commie? You want to ruin the country? You want to run America into the ground? Are you a commie? My boss exploits my labor and I thank him for the privilege, commie. It's like, okay, man. Okay, sure, man. You do you. So, child steps over a woman's leg because she doesn't put her leg down for him, and then she kicks him.
I'm 11 years old, you're 80. You're a lot.
I mean, yeah. So this kid needed to get past at a game, and this fully grown adult refused to put her leg down for a child to get past, which is already a stupid move. You're at a public game. Grow up. He steps over her leg because she doesn't put it down, so she kicks him, a child. To which the child absolutely responds, I'm 11 years old, you're like 80, get a life. Because yeah, fucking get a life. Genuinely. You're kicking a child because he stepped over your leg because you didn't put your leg down when he needed to get past cast in a public game while sitting at the front row. Get a fucking life. This next one, I'm gonna have to censor this. I can't show this guy's shirt at all. You're just gonna have to believe me when I say that this guy has a shirt that is covered in pussy and ass. That's what the shirt this guy's wearing. You could have left that shirt at home. You didn't need to bring that shirt. My guy, that's not a shirt you wear in public, in a public place, in what appears to be a restaurant where there's probably children around. Don't do that. Maybe don't do that. These are the same generation of people that's like, I don't have anything against gay people. I just don't think they should make it their whole personality. They should leave that at home, and then goes to a bar wearing a pussy shirt. October used to be cold. That is entirely your fault, Grandma. Yeah, the generation that destroyed the planet is suddenly surprised. Why aren't young people making the planet the way it used to be? It's only our fault for putting it the way it is. It used to be so much simpler back in my day when we were destroying the planet and didn't care. Those darn young'uns, am I right? Those gosh darn millennials and having to live with the world we gave them wasn't like that back in my day. Donald's parents, any questions? This all makes a little more sense now. They both look like if Donald Trump was cast to play like vintage Disney villains, you know? The picture on the right of his mum, first of all, just looks like Donald Trump in a wig, but it looks like if Disney was like, we need to cast Donald Trump to play Cruella de Vil, you know? And the guy on the left looks like if you got Donald Trump to play to play Prince Philip, quite frankly. But yeah, both of these people look like they exploit children in more ways than one. I was implying for labor. However, given everything going on with Trump right now, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna leave that one there. And now it's time for a cat break. Have a minute, a little bit of a palate cleanser, a little bit of a mental health break. Let's calm down and look at Artemis and Hades being goofy little goobers. I will leave you with this for a moment before we get back to the video. You EB, and the baby, hi. Oh, you EP as well. Oh, back to Eep. Look at that tail. Leg. What is this position, sir? Oh, yeah. Yeah. What are you dangling? Skipping the intro of this one because for some reason TikToks really like they really like just putting the punchline of a TikTok at the start. But good job, man. Really successful, really succeeded there. Cutting someone up and then when they film you being like, hey, yeah, and then just covering yourself in your own coffee. Genius move, genius. Physics 101, my guy. You can't really throw things, especially liquids, out of a car window like that. You'd think you'd know that. You'd think given, you know, the amount of years of experience this guy has living in this world that he would understand how wind works when in a car, but apparently not. Apparently not. Baby boomers lived life on easy mode and think you should just work harder. Built in 1950, sold originally for $8,000. For sale today, and the asking price is $1.1 million. So let's break this down a little bit, shall we? So in the 1950s, minimum wage was 70 cents per hour, but got increased in 1956 to $1 per hour. For the sake of ease, we're going to go with $1 per hour. Minimum wage in the US now is $7.25 an hour. $7.25 per hour. So for the sake of ease, we'll round it down to $7 per hour. So that means that minimum wage now is about 7 times what it was in the 1950s. For the sake of, you know, accounting for the discrepancies, I'm gonna round it up to 8 times. So we're gonna say that people are earning 8 times minimum wage now than what they were earning in the 1950s, okay? So the original cost of the house was $8,000. 8 times 8 is 64, right? Which means that this house if accounted for minimum wage now, based on the increase of minimum wage now, should be $64,000. This house is $1.1 million. Not just 10 times an increase versus minimum wage, a 20 times increase of the value of this property versus minimum wage. This house has increased by 20 times what it should be when basing on minimum wage. And they wonder why young people can't afford houses. Rent has inflated alongside these house costs, right? So people are also paying that much extra rent. People are paying far more rent versus minimum wage than people were in the 1950s, okay? There is a level of, yeah, get a job and work hard and get better pay. But there is also a level of no amount of working hard would account for a 20 times increase in costs versus minimum wage, okay? No amount of working hard is accounting for that, because I'll let you in on a clue. The people earning 20 times the amount of that are not the people working harder, okay? They're the people that were already born into wealthy families that get into wealthy positions because of nepotism. They're the people that could have been brought into illustrious and expensive schools, which then lands them much more expensive jobs because they have family already in those industries making that much money, right? It's not a work ethic problem. In fact, this problem is why the work ethic is so low. The problem is that minimum wage hasn't kept up and continues to get worse in regards to the costs of living and the costs of housing. No amount of work ethic will change that. That's why it's killing work ethic. People are going, well, me working hard doesn't make any difference. So what's the point in working hard? If a company isn't going to pay me what I'm worth, then I'm going to give them the work that they pay me for. And at the end of the day, that's the best thing you can do. Make sure that the company gets exactly the work that they pay you for and not a single point more, because otherwise you're giving them free work. Know the value of your labor and only give them the labor they pay for. On August 15, 2025, members of the Criminal Investigations Division and Quick Reactionary Force of Wakulla County Sheriff's Office arrested Helen Litchfield, 71 years of age, for 3 counts of kidnapping, 3 counts of aggravated assault, and 1 count of armed burglary. On August 4th, 2025, Ms. Litchfield lured a father and his 2 daughters, both under 13 years of age, who were fishing off a bridge, back to her home, under the guise of letting them fish in her pond. Ms. Litchfield then proceeded to hold the family hostage at gunpoint, claiming she didn't believe the girls were really the daughters of the man. Both children and the man insisted they were in fact related, but their pleas fell on deaf ears. While being held at gunpoint, Ms. Litchfield unlawfully searched the family's car. The harrowing incident was only resolved after Mrs. Litchfield's roommate intervened to guide the father and the girls to a fence while Miss Litchfield was distracted. The roommate instructed the father to run, which he subsequently did. Miss Litchfield was arrested at her residence and subsequently booked into the Wakulla County Jail. Holy shit. So she thought that she was preventing a kidnapping by kidnapping people. Based on what? Appearances? Based on the fact that she looked at him and looked at his kids and went, I don't think they're related. Ignoring how really stupid that is, adoption exists. You can adopt children that look nothing like you because adoption exists. He could have married a woman that already had children. They could just be his stepchildren. Ignoring all of that, they're related. My God, you cannot cure insanity. These are the kinds of people where they need distinct, specific medical help. They need care. They need constant care, and they need constantly looking after to make sure that they aren't hurting people, right? That's the kind of... This woman shouldn't be just roaming around. You know, she shouldn't just be allowed to roam around in the world. Certainly shouldn't be allowed to own a fucking gun. What's up with that, America? This woman was allowed to buy a gun. Boomer is the N-word of ageism. Being hip and flip does not make bigotry okay, nor is a derisive epithet acceptable because it's new. Saying your generation's official name is the equivalent of the most heinous racial slur in America is some real boomer shit. Also, gotta say it, with the amount that boomers love doing the whole millennials, am I right? Millennials. Oh, the millennials don't want to work. Millennials keep complaining. Forgive me if I don't give a shit that you don't like being called a boomer. I don't care. Quite frankly, you're a boomer. You're a part of that generation. If you act like a boomer, I'm gonna call you a boomer. And that is where I'm going to end the video. video. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. If you've made it this far into the video, then that means that you like my content and watch content this far in. So I want to tell you about a feature that YouTube has introduced, which I didn't know about until I stumbled across it, which is they have moved the community tab and they've made it so that anybody can post in it. So the community tab on my channel is now in a slightly different place, and when you click on it, it brings up a wall that you guys can post on. So if you've made it this far into the video, maybe post something on there, because I'm intrigued to see where this kind of thing can go. You know, if this can add something to my community, it allows you guys to post there and talk to each other. That sounds like it could be a really good feature. So I'd love to see how you guys make use of it. So that is a thing that is there that you can do. Also, if you would like to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or equally you can click on that join button on the channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. But a huge, massive special thank you to all of the wonderful YouTube members and patrons that do support me. All of your names are up on screen right now. It genuinely means so much, and it genuinely helps so much. So thank you to everybody that does. And if you do support me, you get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.